On today's In the Boardroom, the Vatican gets a corporate-style management overhaul. Pope Francis revolutionising the Holy See by opening up its finances to scrutiny, saying more of its wealth should go to the poor. It's a move most CEOs would struggle to make, especially at bonus time. So how will he fare? Lucy Marcus, boards and corporate governance expert, joins me now. Hi there, Lucy. Just tell us what's happening, how this setup is different to what we've had before.
Well, it's a big deal, actually. It is a revolutionary move for the Vatican. It's more daring than what's been done in the past. Essentially, it's opening up its finances to scrutiny, as you say. It has a new secretariat, which is going to be headed by a cardinal from Australia.
Yep.
And also they're bringing in lay members, so outsiders, non-religious folk. Well, they could be religious, but not of the church, for expertise.
All right, all that sounds impressive, but is it going to work? Bringing lay people in, is that going to work? I'm just quoting here. It will enable more formal involvement of senior and experienced experts in financial administration, planning and reporting. You know, sounds good on paper, but it hasn't helped a lot of big companies, I know.
Well, the comparison is apt in a way to big companies. It is a huge institution and a very complicated institution. And if you compare it to something like Walmart, you know, a large organization, global in its scope, still community-based, but with a head to it, and it has the same complexities that a large, complicated bank or financial institution or a Walmart, large retailer would have. And the question is, you rightly ask, will it work? I think we've seen something very interesting from this Pope in the past year. He has really energized his community and also really swept through there and made a lot of changes in a lot of areas. And one of the things I found, I was talking to somebody about this morning, and they were surprised we were even having a discussion about the finances of the church because it's such a black box institution. You know, you and I talk about black box worlds all the time, but this is one that the very fact that they're talking about this and that financial scrutiny, audit, corporate governance are being discussed is in itself very revolutionary.
I mean, you know, at the risk of sounding cynical,
no.
You know, if you've got, you know, okay, well, you talk about 7 lay financial experts on this 15-member council. Great, they're independent. But if you've got 7 fuddy-duddy board members who aren't prepared to institute change, then we're back at square one, right?
Well, as always, the proof is in the eating. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. And you're absolutely right. Who they pick will make a big difference. How they actually move this forward will make a big difference. So major credit is due for bringing the issue to the fore and taking a really strong move about it. I mean, he's put in place a motu proprio, which is essentially a wide document that says, I'm telling you that we're doing this, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And of course, you look at a comparison to other types of CEOs. Could they do that? Hard to say. And whether it will work for him, you know, I say credit where credit is due on this one.
And by the way, the title of this motu proprio, your pronunciation is way better than mine, is Faithful and Prudent Administrator. My question is this as well, Lucy. This overhaul, do you think it will have a wider impact on Italian and indeed global business?
I do, actually. You know, I spend a lot of time in Italy because I sit on a public board there, and I was there a couple of weeks ago and giving a speech to very senior leaders, and we were then sitting around and chatting afterwards, and they actually feel as if this Pope has made a real difference to the community at large in Italy. A couple weeks ago, I was in Mexico, and you know, places where there's deep Catholicism and where there is a strong sense of religion around the world, you know, and where there's often issues of corruption or ethical questions, to see the head of this church so publicly speak about this actually is very impactful. And so I do think that it could really make a big difference. And, again, I compare it to Walmart. When something like a Walmart makes a decision about, say, sustainability and says, we won't allow packaging of a certain kind in our stores anymore, and we won't allow certain kinds of things to happen, the knock-on effect within the community and and what happens in the world is big. When the church says, in the Vatican says, this is something that we care about, and we don't just care about it here in the Vatican, but also we care about our banking and financial institutions, who we do business with and how we do business. Sure. That actually could have a real knock-on effect.
Very, very quickly, Lucy, how long are you going to give them before you'll hold your head up and say this has worked or this hasn't worked?
Not too long, actually. I think, we should see within a month or so whether this is actually coming into play. And by next year, we should know whether this has really worked and whether he's able to maintain the position and also really keep pushing. Because to say it is one thing. You and I have talked about this with Barclays and financial institutions. They get a new CEO in who says a lot of good things. Great. Thanks for the great words. But now let's judge it on actions, as we always do.
All right. Well, let's revisit this one, definitely, Lucy. Lucy Marcus from In the Boardroom with Lucy Marcus. That is it from me. I'm Axel Throlfall. This is Reuters.